Hash how ancient mothers gave birth and somehow survived. Imagine you're 9 months pregnant. There are no hospitals, no doctors, no pain medication. No emergency surgeries, no ultrasound to tell you if something is wrong, and tonight, your labor begins. The sun has already disappeared behind the horizon. Your village sits miles away from the nearest settlement. The only people around you are family members and an experienced older woman who has helped deliver babies before. You take a deep breath. Because once the contractions start, there is no turning back. For most of human history, childbirth was one of the most dangerous moments in a woman's life. Today, many people see giving birth as a routine medical event. But for ancient mothers, childbirth was often a life-or-death gamble, and yet somehow, humanity survived. So how did ancient women give birth thousands of years ago, and what was it really like? Let's find out. About 10,000 years ago, life looked very different from today. Most people lived in small tribes or farming communities. Daily life was physically demanding. Women carried water, gathered food, worked fields, prepared meals, and cared for children. By the time labor arrived, many women were already incredibly strong and physically conditioned. But strength alone could not guarantee survival. Ancient mothers had no way to monitor pregnancy complications. A baby could be positioned incorrectly. The umbilical cord could become tangled. A mother could experience severe bleeding. Any of these problems might become fatal. Today, modern medicine handles many of these emergencies. Back then, nature made the final decision. When labor began, women usually stayed close to home. Contrary to what many people imagine, ancient mothers did not always give birth lying on their backs. In fact, many cultures considered that position unnatural. Instead, women often squatted, knelt, crouched, or even stood while holding ropes, tree branches, or support poles. These positions allowed gravity to help the baby move downward. Some archaeological evidence and historical records suggest that birthing stools were used in several ancient civilizations. These simple seats had an opening in the center, allowing the mother to sit upright during delivery. Many modern childbirth experts now recognize that upright positions can sometimes make labor easier. Ironically, some ancient practices may have been more practical than people assume. One of the most important people during childbirth was the midwife. Long before doctors became involved in childbirth, experienced women guided mothers through labor. Midwives were respected members of their communities. They learned through observation and experience passed down across generations. No medical schools, no textbooks. Just knowledge accumulated over centuries. A skilled midwife knew how to recognize signs of labor. She understood how to calm frightened mothers. She knew traditional remedies believed to ease pain. Most importantly, she provided reassurance. Because fear could be as overwhelming as the physical pain itself. Imagine hearing another woman's voice reminding you to breathe while contractions crash through your body like waves. That support could mean everything. Pain relief was limited, very limited. Ancient mothers had no epidurals, no anesthesia, no modern medications. Different cultures relied on herbs, heated stones, massage, oils, chanting, and spiritual rituals. Some remedies may have provided mild relief. Others probably did very little. But the psychological comfort often mattered. Human beings have always searched for ways to reduce suffering, even thousands of years ago. Childbirth was surrounded by deep beliefs and traditions. Many ancient cultures viewed birth as a sacred event. Protective symbols were placed nearby, prayers were spoken, amulets were worn. Special ceremonies were performed. People believed supernatural forces could influence the outcome. In a world filled with uncertainty, these rituals offered hope. And hope can be a powerful medicine. But despite all their efforts, childbirth remained incredibly dangerous. Modern estimates suggest that maternal mortality rates were dramatically higher than today. In some communities, a woman might experience several pregnancies and still never know if she would survive the next one. Infections were a constant threat. Without knowledge of bacteria or sterilization, even a small complication could become deadly. A simple cut, a retained placenta, postpartum bleeding. Any of these could turn a joyful moment into a tragedy. Families understood this risk all too well. Every birth carried both excitement and fear, and yet mothers continued, generation after generation. Think about that for a moment. Every person alive today exists because countless mothers endured childbirth under conditions we would consider unimaginable. Your family line survived wars, famines, diseases, natural disasters. And somewhere in that chain, ancient women faced labor with little more than courage, experience, and determination. The fact that any family line survived at all is actually remarkable. Some anthropologists believe that strong social bonds helped mothers survive. Unlike many animals, humans often give birth with assistance. Family members, friends, and midwives frequently remained nearby. Childbirth became a community event rather than a solitary struggle. This support system may have played a major role in human survival. Because when a mother needed help, she rarely faced the challenge entirely alone. Human beings survived not only through intelligence, but through cooperation. Perhaps the most astonishing part of this story is that ancient mothers were not passive victims of nature. They adapted, they learned. They shared knowledge, each generation passed lessons to the next, a technique that worked, an herb that seemed helpful, a warning sign to watch for. Over thousands of years, this collective wisdom gradually improved outcomes. Long before science explained why certain practices worked, people were already experimenting through experience. In many ways, modern obstetrics stands on foundations built by countless unnamed women who learned through trial and survival. So the next time you see a modern maternity ward filled with advanced technology, remember how extraordinary that progress truly is. For most of human history, childbirth happened in simple homes, small villages, caves, huts, and temporary shelters. There were no machines monitoring heartbeats, no emergency operating rooms. No specialists waiting nearby. Only mothers facing one of life's greatest challenges, and somehow, again and again. They brought new life into the world. Their courage shaped every generation that followed, including ours. Because without those ancient mothers, without their strength, resilience, and determination, none of us would be here today. And that may be one of the most incredible survival stories in human history.